acted like loosely on the metamorphosis, right?
Very, very loosely, very freely.
But there is a plot to that. So what was the decision to kind of just strictly kind of stick with the kind of the theme, this random kind of movement, is the interplay between beings within their space is really kind of the theme of the film for me. Why did you kind of minimalize it to that?
Why did I minimalize the plot and use mostly the choreography in the room?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Or I think when there's a plot, then everything which happens in a film always serves in a certain way to the plot. And I like when the atmosphere or the topic don't have to have a fight with the plot. And I like when the characters in the movie aren't like a slave of the plot. I like when the film, when the audiovisual media film is not a slave of a story or of a plot, when it can be used for create a complexity or complex characters. And actually the movements and the choreography, because I like montage and mise en scène, I like to really control the montage when it's a cut, and I like to have static camera in a contrast to a certain movement.
You do feel, if you really feel that watching it too.
I like when there's a certain rhythm or when there's a certain silence, and then once again it starts like a ballet or like dancing, a choreography. And I think it's just really a basic interest of me to how to choreograph the bodies and the characters in the room.
Like how did you decide what people would be moving within a frame and at what point and how they move? Like, is it spontaneous or was that really planned out?
Actually, it was really planned out. It was the important things were of all the dialect, which dialect parts are on screen and which one are off screen, and then the decision was when do we see, when there's somebody on screen, when do we see the face and when don't we see the face but the hair. And that's why we had to use all those like coffee cups or those objects, and with that, for example, the character has to put the cup from here to the
table for like a countertop or the
something like that. Yeah. Yes, and so we could use that to make a choreography, and so like that we could control when it's on screen, when it's off screen. And actually everything was already drawn before.
Oh, you did storyboarding?
Not really storyboarding, but the DOP, he had a software, and in that software he built the apartment in a digital way. And then we could use the camera, digital camera, with a optic, with the right optic always. And then he built little sculptures with the length of the actors, of how big they are, and then he built there every tables and everything. And then, because we didn't want to cut too much, we wanted to use the filmic means in a very, very minimal way and not cut too much. And when there's a cut, then it's an important cut. And so with that software and with drawings and with the script, we could plan how the choreography has to be and when it has to be cut, when the images have to be cut.
I like that a lot of the still, and when you're framing stuff, a lot of times it will be on like the hip area of people and at the little girl's facial height. So you get that interplay between adults and children. And
a lot of times you see them connecting with their hands or something like that, because their hands are also at that level. Was that intentional, or is that something that just kind of happened as you were doing it?
Actually, it's like a consequence of the decision that when we begin an image, when the first time we see an image, then it's like good kadriert, the kadrage is good, like centered. It's like centered, the people we focus is centered, the area over the head is good, and then during the shot there's a movement and things happen, and the camera, because we thought the camera like a character, and that character didn't know what happened, so many things got out of focus, and when the little girl goes away and the adults came, the consequence of it was that those people weren't focused or centered well.
Right.
And so actually it was like, it was a consequence of the decision not to moving the camera and to get the shot out of focus during the time. And the consequence is also a little bit that the camera has a certain proximity to the children, because it often starts with the children.
Right. You were talking about how mise-en-scene is really important to your construction of the film, and there is a lot of yellow in the film.
Hmm?
Why yellow? What was it for you about yellow that you liked? There's so many scenes where there's like, she's wearing yellow, and there's yellow in the foreground, and there's yellow in the background. What was it about yellow?
Actually, it was just we knew that we wanted. Actually, we didn't want to psychologize the colors. It wasn't like blue means for us that or yellow means that. It's like an anti-psychological use of a color for us. And important for us was just not being afraid of using color, because when we have a digital video images, then often a movie looks very unstrong and boring when there's not enough contrast.
Right.
And so for us it was rather a formal decision with the DOP and us to not be afraid of using colors, but we didn't psycholize the colors. And it was also like, because it was a whole day, the journey of one day, and so it rather starts with white light, and then it's like a journey to the artificial light, to the artificial yellow, red light, and then the lightening becomes more and more artificial the longer the day is.
Right.
So it doesn't have a plot, or a very minimal plot, or many little plots, but one structure of the film is the journey from the daily light to the yellow artificial light.
For me, it was kind of like it almost enhanced the tone. Like in the beginning, it's kind of got this kind of like light tone, and then there's like a rhythm of like lightness and like somberness that kind of weaves in and out, and it comes with the music as well. The music kind of starts fairly somber, and then it kind of switches gears and gets a little bit playful sounding. The music for me actually was probably the most striking thing about the whole film. And I love that you kept bringing it back. Where did you find that song, and why did you choose the song?
Actually, it was just because in the beginning we knew where we wanted to have music, and at the beginning I just wanted to have, how is that the instrument called? It's like a xylophone, but I think it's called vibraphone. It's like a xylophone with many long things.
Oh, like
it's a
vibraphone. Yeah, that's what it is.
And
yeah.
then the person who played the vibraphone had many of those sticks, then he had here, he had 4 sticks, and here,
Oh wow,
and then he always made like that.
that's really hard.
And about it was, and then it was very complex but very minimal, and it
Right.
was very many sounds. But then we realized that it's too much like the film, like what's that? The piano has something which always makes like
Oh,
that.
metronome.
A metronome.
Yeah.
So the music was too much like a metronome. And then we wanted something which is more emotional and dramatic a little bit. And then I asked the assistant director to find something with a cello, because there's a character who has a cello, the little woman, the
Oh,
woman
right.
who comes. And then she sent me that music, and I loved it.
It was just like a first choice, kind of like
With first choice, and then I
Wow.
put it everywhere, and I thought that using that music at those scenes, at those points, it's like that the movie starts living. Because when the music would be like a metronome, like the film is, then it would have been a little bit dead.
Right.
And
That,
so
that
it-
makes sense.
Yeah.
It
So
gives it
there-
like a human character, because the cello is, I guess it's perceived as like the most human of instruments.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
It's also an erotic instrument. It doesn't have something to do with the film,
Right.
but it's a very human instrument, yeah.
One of the questions I had when I was watching it was, what is the deal with that spinning bottle in the little pot? For me it was like a thematic element that could be like problems that keep coming up in life or something like that. But I really it couldn't place it to me.
Hmm?
So could you just talk about what the deal was with the magic spinning bottle?
Yeah. Actually, it's just because all those things, we didn't want to use them as a symbol, but for example, the bottle and the little thing which, because of the gas, it blows away.
Yeah, it blows it up.
It pops away. It's like a physical phenomenon. A phenomena.
Yeah, I think that's the word.
And the bottle, it's also like a phenomena, or that the orange peel always falls with a white thing up there. It's also like a physical phenomena. And it's like, and it's also a little bit like the whole movie for me is a little bit like, what's called that object when once it starts making a movement, it never ends.
Perpetuum mobile.
Yeah.
A perpetuum mobile. So it's like the prison of the everyday life. Everything just continues. Everything continues. It never ends. It's like an endless choreography, and it's like a prison in the everyday life, and it goes on, it goes on, it goes on, and it's that prison of the everyday life. And it was also a little bit that bottle, a little bit like that perpetuum mobile. When once the energy, the object has received the energy, it never ends.
I like that.
It was a little bit for me like the everyday life, and that apartment like a little prison of the mother inside.
The washing machine also like